Has this thought ever crossed your mind? If aliens really do exist, why haven't they contacted us yet? And with the huge number of sightings taking place around the world, it definitely seems like 2024 is the year in which aliens will finally make contact with humanity. Will this interaction be peaceful or hostile? Only time will tell. For now, all we know is that alien and UFO activity are at an all-time high, and all this just proves one thing, that we are actually not alone in this vast universe. So let's check out the many times that aliens have presented themselves right in front of us. Mind you, some of these sightings have been recorded by respected military personnel using high-tech army-grade equipment, adding further credibility to something that is still believed to be unknown. So without wasting any further time, let's check out these 17 shocking UFO sightings. Number 1, UFO reported over New York's LaGuardia Airport. This is the latest sighting in the list. This shocking sighting took place just recently in March 2024. Michelle Reyes was on a commercial flight above New York's LaGuardia Airport on March 25th. She was casually recording a video of New York skyline, like most travelers do as their plane gets ready to land, when suddenly, she spotted something very unusual. She saw a mysterious, eerie-looking black disc-like object zooming past her plane from right to left. The dark object was traveling at roughly 2,500 feet above ground level and was relatively close to the plane. The motion was really quick, but if we pause the footage, you can clearly see that this UAP was neither a drone nor any manned aircraft that we know of. Now let's see the footage in real time. Even if we consider the fact that the plane and the UFO are moving in opposite directions, it still seemed like the UFO was moving at tremendous speeds, like a fighter jet. No man-made drone yet can achieve Mach speed while flying. After recording the footage, Michelle Reyes immediately emailed the Federal Aviation Administration to let them know what she saw. But even the FAA are still clueless as to what the mysterious black disc was. And this is also not the first time that a UFO was seen flying near an airport. Number 2, UFO hovering over airport in Puerto Rico. This incident took place in Aguadilla, a city in Puerto Rico. The compelling footage was captured in April 2013, over the Rafael Hernandez Airport by a Customs and Border Protection aircraft. In this footage, we can clearly see that the forward-looking infrared camera tracking the movement of this UFO was finding it extremely difficult to keep track of it, because of its intense speed and agile movement. In the footage, we can see a sphere-like object swiftly flying first over the airport and then over road and commercial buildings. Even the military personnel capturing the footage said that the UFO exhibited characteristics that cannot be explained by any known aircraft or natural phenomenon. Also, they added that this UFO was definitely smaller than an aircraft, so maybe it was an alien probe sent to survey the airport area. The CBP aircraft continued following the sphere for more than 10 minutes, and during this time it slowly moved towards the ocean. That's where things got weirder, because the sphere suddenly dipped inside the water. And when it emerged out of the water, it split into 2 UFOs while traveling at the same speed. Never to be seen again. The military personnel were perplexed and horrified as to what they had just witnessed. Surprisingly, similar metallic spheres have been spotted over U.S. military bases. Let's continue watching the video to find out more. Number 3, UFO seen in Oklahoma night sky. This is another sighting that took place just recently in 2024. On the 4th of March, an Oklahoma resident was enjoying a quiet evening with his kids, right outside his residence, when suddenly they spotted something abnormal above them. They saw an unusually bright object in the sky giving off luminous white light. Initially he thought it was a shooting star, but it was moving extremely slow to be one. Then suddenly, the UFO blasted a white plume of air resembling a shockwave, which further perplexed the onlookers. Some actually think that this was just a rocket launch that is getting blown out of proportion. Surprisingly, on that same day, SpaceX did have a launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida, but that launch took place at a totally different time and location compared to the UFO sighting. So was this just aliens keeping track of all the space launches that we do? Recently Elon Musk even said, "I don't see any evidence of aliens," as Starlink satellites have never dodged UFOs. Or maybe these UFOs are just too quick to detect. We will further see 2 other UFO sightings that shockingly got very close to the US military. Number 4, Baghdad Phantom. This sighting got nicknamed Baghdad Phantom as it took place in Baghdad, Iraq. This was an active conflict zone at the time of the observation. This sighting took place on May 14, 2022. 6 classified images were taken north of the city of Baghdad by the US Air Force using a Reaper drone with a thermal camera. These images were later released by filmmaker and ufologist Jeremy Corbell, who also leaked the jellyfish UAP video at the start of 2024.
Thermal spectrum, could it be seen? But anything that looks like that appears to have a payload, that's a big deal. It could be dangerous, so these are high priority.
When these 6 images were stitched together, you can clearly see a disc-like object, quickly zooming from left to right. Fast-moving crafts are powered by propulsion systems like rockets or engines that create heat. But the thermal camera that filmed the object showed it was colder than its surroundings. This goes to show that it was definitely not a rocket. It also implies that the spacecraft was made using highly advanced technology. For a second, you actually think that you are watching the UFO footage over LaGuardia Airport, but in infrared. Both these discs share a striking resemblance and were seen just 2 years apart near national and military airspaces. Was this the same UFO keeping an eye on America's military activity? The US military designated the disc as an unidentified aerial phenomena or UAP. Even RO, which is an office set up by the Department of Defense to investigate unidentified flying objects, is now aware of this case and is carrying out its investigations. The filming of the Baghdad Phantom UAP was not an isolated UAP event in the area during this 24-hour period. UAPs consisting of various shapes were filmed during this UAP event series. But moving away from Baghdad, another shocking UFO sighting took place right next to a US military fighter jet. Number 5, Tic Tac UFO. This sighting took place in 2004 and the footage was taken aboard a Navy fighter jet from the nuclear aircraft carrier USS Nimitz. The footage was captured using a Raytheon Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared Pod, which consists of the most advanced sensors and tracking system in the world. The sighting of this oblong object took place at an altitude of almost 20,000 feet. Also, this UAP was not giving out any plumes of smoke like a conventional aircraft. The fighter jet was moving at a speed of roughly 250 knots, that's almost 300 miles per hour. So this UFO was also moving at a relatively high speed just like the fighter jet. The fighter pilot constantly tried to change the mode of tracking to get a better understanding of the UAP, but to no avail. And then, after almost a minute and a half of tracking the UAP, it suddenly accelerated towards the left at an unprecedented velocity, moving out of the view of the sensor. The fighter jet was unable to track it after that. Were the aliens already aware that the US fighter jet was tracking them, and were they just playing along? Number 6. Jellyfish UAP in Iraq. This footage was first released on January 10, 2024 by investigative journalists Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. Jeremy Corbell is a filmmaker and ufologist based in Los Angeles. He obtained this footage from 2018 of a military-filmed UAP incursion within a United States Joint Operations base in Iraq. This UAP was immediately nicknamed the Jellyfish UFO because of its jellyfish-like appearance. The US military drone monitoring this UAP could only view it in thermal vision. The drone that was designated to track this UAP has the potential of locking in on the tire of a remote car from as far as 27 miles away. But this advanced US military drone found it difficult to lock on to this jellyfish UAP, thus indicating that some alien technology was trying to jam the signals of the drone, so that the UAP went undetected. And the odd part is it kept going white and black, meaning hot and cold instantaneously, so as to not get detected by the thermal vision camera. Which goes to show that this UAP knew it was being monitored for the heat it was emitting, and made immediate modifications to go undetected, thus implying that a sentient being was operating that UAP. After hovering over the US Army base for some time, the UAP then went out over a body of water, plunged into it, and stayed underwater for close to 17 minutes. And after 17 minutes, it shot out of the water at a 45-degree angle with tremendous velocity and disappeared. Did the UAP go underwater to hide from the US surveillance drone? Or was that part of its mission to survey the underwater area around the military base for further weaponry? Whatever be the case, the US military has no idea what it was. And if this UAP sighting was mind-boggling, wait till you see the next 11. Number 7. UFO seen by Colombian pilot. This sighting took place on May 4, 2023 over Antioquia in Colombia. The footage was captured by the pilot while flying in his Cessna T-303 Crusader. According to him, the object was first seen floating, and appeared stationary at a specific point between Medellin and Santa Fe. As they approached the UAP, it suddenly moved towards them. He then moved his plane around and started filming. But as he did so, the UAP started moving towards them. He managed to avoid the UAP while flying at a speed of roughly over 300 kilometers per hour. The pilot expressed fear during the encounter, insisting that the object was neither a balloon, a drone, nor any known object to him. Similar flying spheres were also seen in other parts of the world. Let's continue to know more. Number 8. UFO seen by Ukrainian soldiers during the Russia-Ukraine war. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently said that he would use nuclear weapons if NATO deployed their troops on ground to fight against Russia alongside Ukraine. And it was after this horrendous nuclear threat by Putin that a mysteriously eerie-looking UFO was seen by Ukrainian soldiers. This is the second time that a UFO has been spotted in a war zone. Normally UFOs have been seen above cities and also over mountains. But rarely have UFOs been spotted during an active war by soldiers. The footage shows Ukrainian soldiers from the 406th Battalion totally speechless and horrified after seeing the UFO right in front of them. You can't blame them for such a reaction, as for a minute they actually thought that it was a new Russian aircraft that was ready to attack them with a nuclear weapon. But this UFO was disc-shaped and was completely stationary, floating in air for the entire duration. This completely bamboozled the Ukrainian soldiers, who can be heard swearing in Russian, out of fear of not being able to comprehend what they had just witnessed. The scary footage was captured by a heat vision quadcopter drone used by the Ukrainian armed forces. This mysterious hovering object bears a striking resemblance to the Baghdad Phantom, a skinny, cylindrical object spotted above Iraq in May 2022, by the infrared heat camera of a U.S. Air Force Reaper drone. And this was not the last time that trained military personnel came across alien spaceships. Number 9. UFO seen in the Middle East. The U.S. Department of Defense released this classified footage in April 2023. This footage was taken somewhere in the Middle East. The exact location has not been disclosed. A military drone captured an apparent silver orb-like object that crossed the sensor's field of view. This video was recorded on July 12, 2022. The Department of Defense has said that in spite of multiple analysis, the object still remains unidentified. The flying object seems to be a round metallic shiny sphere moving in a straight line. Then suddenly it moves to the right when the military drone tries to lock onto its position. This shows that the highly advanced technology of the UAP was able to detect the US military drone without any physical contact. Even till the end of the video, the military drone was not able to focus on the UAP as it kept dodging the sensor. Then 1 year later, in June 2023, NASA held a press conference to talk about that particular UFO sighting. NASA is also closely working with the Pentagon to find out what exactly they had encountered in the Middle East. But this was not the first time that such a metallic sphere was seen by military personnel. As we move ahead, you will be shocked to see how close some UFOs got to the armed forces. Number 10. Triangular craft seen by the U.S. Navy. This footage was again leaked by ufologist Jeremy Corbell, who had earlier released the Jellyfish UAP video. The video was recorded by U.S. Navy personnel, and was captured with a night vision camera, from the destroyer USS Russell in 2019. This was then leaked by Jeremy Corbell in 2021. The government's classified briefing clearly mentioned that the triangular UFO was definitely not owned by the United States, or any other country, or even a private spaceflight firm. Some think that this might be an advanced version of the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, also known as the stealth bomber, that the US military might have been testing at that time. The stealth bomber too has a triangular shape and has a similar flight pattern. Surprisingly, the military personnel who recorded this video said that the UFO was behaving in unexpected ways. In addition, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, set up in 2020, couldn't determine what the craft was. Another massive UAP sighting bearing the shape of a triangle took place in Florida, USA. Number 11. UFOs spotted in Sunrise, Florida. This footage was recorded at night from a doorbell camera in Sunrise, Florida in 2023. In this video, 3 UFOs can be seen to move in the formation of an equilateral triangle. Such a formation would be very difficult to maintain when moving at high speeds by any of the current known aircrafts. The UFOs then eventually disperse in different directions. An eyewitness recorded another footage of the same event from another part of Florida, adding credibility to the sighting. This footage gives us a better understanding of how far apart the 3 UFOs actually are from each other. When seeing the first footage, initially it looks like a singular ship with 3 lights shining at its 3 edges. But later you can clearly see that the 3 UFOs start acting independently, and move in opposite directions in precision synchronized fashion. Such synchronized movement has been seen at drone air shows. But it would have to be a very large drone, almost the size of an airplane, to shine so brightly in the night sky from such a high altitude. People in Florida are still clueless about what they witnessed that fateful night. But wait till you see the UFO that almost scared the Chilean military personnel. Number 12. UFO spotted in Chile. In 1997, the Chilean government officially created a committee for the study of anomalous aerial phenomena. The committee was created with the sole purpose of studying all reports of UAP activity by commercial military and civilian pilots. And one such documented incident that was highly publicized took place in 2014. Chilean naval officers came across a UAP while flying along the coast of Santiago in their helicopter. What they encountered left them totally dumbstruck and confused. They were at a height of about 4,500 feet, and for 9 straight minutes, they kept recording this strange-looking UAP. At first glance it looks like an elongated rocket moving horizontally. But as time goes by, the frontal part of the UFO moves ahead, leaving behind a long horizontal part. Even after studying the footage for 2 years, the Chilean military was unable to identify this unusual aerial phenomena. Also, it seems like aliens have a secret base on the moon. Let's continue to know more. Number 13. UFOs spotted on the moon from Moscow. UFO activity is not just something that happens on Earth, but on our natural satellite as well. A photographer from Moscow, Russia, captured something on the moon that left him totally spellbound. Anyways, there are conspiracy theories that the moon is an alien base, but this footage just solidified such beliefs. Back in 2019, a Russian photographer set up his equipment to shoot a full moon over the city of Moscow. And while trying to focus, he saw something very unusual. At first glance, he could see 3 circular objects moving near the surface of the moon. And then when he tried to refocus to confirm what he saw, to his amazement, now there were multiple circular UFOs moving at the same speed from left to right over the moon. It seemed like an entire battalion of UFOs was flying out for a mission over the moon. Analysts are still not able to deduce what exactly these flying circular lunar objects were. And seems like one of these alien spheres made it to South America. Number 14. UFO seen by a commercial pilot in Colombia. This by far has got to be one of the most hard-hitting evidence for UFOs that has ever been caught on tape. The one-of-a-kind video was recorded by the pilot of a commercial airplane in Colombia. In February 2020, an Airbus A320 was on a routine flight soaring over Medellin, Colombia. At about 30,000 feet in the air, the pilot decided to pull out his phone and record the view. But to his astonishment, he spotted a metallic cube with pointy edges moving seamlessly in a straight line. Now, if this was a weather balloon, it would sway from left to right, but this seemed to be moving forward in one direction, implying that it was being propelled by a powerful engine of sorts. A similar object was spotted by a U.S. fighter pilot in 2018, over the Atlantic Ocean, at an altitude of 35,000 feet. That UFO has still not been identified, and its structure seems to be very similar to the cube-like structure that was seen by the Colombian pilot in 2020. Whether these are alien manned spaceships, or just probes sent to monitor the area, neither the U.S. nor the Colombian military has any clue. But these UFO sightings are nothing compared to what the U.S. military encountered in California. Number 15. UAP spotted by Navy pilot in California. U.S. Navy pilots often fly over states for routine naval operations. But back in 2004, during one such routine aerial surveillance operation, a Navy pilot captured something very unusual on his radar. This incident took place off the coast of California. At first the pilot thought there was some error with his radar. But after some time, he realized that it was indeed an aircraft hovering right in front of him. It was an oval-shaped object that kept hovering in its position for quite some time. Even the pilot who recorded the footage said that this craft was not behaving according to the normal laws of physics. After noticing this weird craft, the pilot reported it to the Department of Defense. For nearly 16 years, the Pentagon kept this video classified, but in April 2020, the Department of Defense released this video to the public. 2 other classified videos were also made available to the public in 2020. The last UAP sighting even made the US military personnel jump out of his seat. Number 16. UFO seen by pilots in 2015. The second classified video that was made public involved pilots coming across a flying saucer, moving at tremendous speeds. This incident took place in 2015, near the east coast of America. The pilots seemed bamboozled on seeing this UAP at first. What further shocked them was the tilting movement of the craft from left to right, that it maneuvered mid-air while traveling at great speeds. The pilot also noted that the UAP was moving against the direction of the wind, which on that particular day had a speed of 120 knots, approximately 138 miles per hour. Thus, this flying saucer would need to possess immense power to move at such great speeds in spite of such obstruction from the wind. The Department of Defense is yet to establish what exactly this UAP was. Number 17. UAP seen by Navy pilots over the ocean. The exact location of this final classified sighting has not been disclosed. But just like the previous 2 videos, the Pentagon made this classified video public in April 2020. This sighting took place just a few months after the tilting flying saucer was spotted on the east coast of America. From the video, it seems to be a metallic sphere moving in a straight line, racing across the surface of the ocean. This also bears a striking resemblance to the metallic sphere that was spotted in the Middle East in 2022, that kept dodging the sensor of the military drone. Luckily, the skilled US Navy pilots were able to lock on to the metallic sphere this time around. The Pentagon released the above 3 videos with a statement saying that the Department of Defense is releasing the videos in order to clear up any misconceptions by the public on whether or not the footage that has been circulating was real, or whether or not there is more to the videos. The aerial phenomena observed in the videos remain characterized as unidentified. Number 1. 10-foot humanoids on a Brazilian mountain. So for people who keep saying that UFOs and aliens are only seen in the US, here is something specially for you. Just 1 week after the Miami shadow alien encounter in January 2024, people in Brazil encountered 2 weird alien creatures on top of a hill, at an island 3 kilometers off the coast of southeast Brazil. Local hikers who recorded the footage reported that 2 alien creatures were spotted on the mountain and they were supposedly 10 feet tall, similar to the Miami shadow alien. The reason they say they are so tall is because the shrubbery on that hill was barely reaching their knees, which would ideally cover half of a normal human. The aliens were then seen walking down the hill quicker than normal humans with bigger strides, obviously because of their tall stature. Even Brazil's provincial government commented on the video, calling the creatures strange beings. Were these the same aliens who were seen in Miami on New Year's and have now moved to South America? Number 2. UFO reported over New York's LaGuardia Airport. This is the latest sighting in the list. This shocking sighting took place just recently in March 2024. Michelle Reyes was on a commercial flight above New York's LaGuardia Airport on March 25. She was casually recording a video of New York skyline, like most travelers do as their plane gets ready to land, when suddenly, she spotted something very unusual. She saw a mysterious, eerie-looking black disc-like object zooming past her plane from right to left. The dark object was traveling at roughly 2,500 feet above ground level and was relatively close to the plane. The motion was really quick, but if we pause the footage, you can clearly see that this UAP was neither a drone nor any manned aircraft that we know of. Now let's see the footage in real time. Even if we consider the fact that the plane and the UFO are moving in opposite directions, it still seemed like the UFO was moving at tremendous speeds, like a fighter jet. No man-made drone yet can achieve Mach speed while flying. After recording the footage, Michelle Reyes immediately emailed the Federal Aviation Administration to let them know what she saw. But even the FAA are still clueless as to what the mysterious black disc was. And this is also not the first time that a UFO was seen flying near an airport. Number 3, UFO in Spain vanishes in seconds. This particular sighting got a lot of social media attention, mainly as it took place near the party capital of the world, Ibiza. Tourists were enjoying the calm ocean atop a cliff in the evening, at the Es Vidra Island, near Ibiza. Surprisingly, a half-crescent moon was also visible during that time of the day. And a tourist who was trying to capture that half-crescent moon noticed something very unusual near it in the sky. She noticed a white bright orb, stationary near the moon. Upon spotting it, she immediately pointed it out to her friend, and they both ran closer to get a better view of the unusual object. But after they zoomed in on the orb to record some clear footage, something very eerie happened. The orb shockingly zoomed to the right with unprecedented speed and was never seen again. The speed with which it zipped out of the field of vision of the camera was totally otherworldly. Such an impossible feat cannot be achieved by any man-made craft that we know of. Even the most powerful rocket ever built, SpaceX's Starship, which has a top speed of 16,000 miles per hour, would find it extremely difficult to achieve such quick momentum in just a split second. Also, the fact that the bright orb was stationary all that while, but zoomed away the moment the tourist tried to capture it on camera, goes to show that the aliens knew that they were being monitored. But how advanced is their tech that they can sense someone trying to record them from so far away? Number 4, UFO seen in Lancaster and Palmdale, California. This sighting is the most recent one and took place on the 16th of August. It also got a lot of social media attention as it took place in California. These eerie sightings took place between the cities of Palmdale and Lancaster, north of Los Angeles and close to a U.S. Air Force base. Which is why a lot of people are pointing out that this might be the U.S. military testing out its advanced crafts. Residents of Lancaster and Palmdale reported seeing up to 6 UFOs in the skies late Friday night. Some even saw the UFOs abruptly stopping mid-air and going in a different direction. Initially they thought that they were shooting stars, but then suddenly these UFOs started moving in a zigzag fashion, suggesting it was a craft being controlled by someone. At first the UFO appears to be completely stationary, emanating lights which pretty much resemble those coming from top of a police car. Then shockingly, the UFO began to descend, which startled everyone. There were even reports that one of these UFOs landed further out in California on a beach, and the authorities obviously cordoned off the area for further investigation. But surprisingly, nothing was announced in the news regarding these UFO sightings. Is the US government and law enforcement trying to conceal something from the general public? Did these UFOs descend on their own? Or were they shot down by the US military? Also, Palmdale is no stranger to UFO activity, as back in 2022, residents of this city experienced something otherworldly that made them fear for their very lives. People spotted more than 100 so-called lights in the night sky, and some of these even moved, so they were definitely not stars, but what exactly were they? Were they smaller UFOs coming out of a mothership? And why were so many UFOs hovering over Palmdale that night? Number 5, metallic sphere seen at U.S. Navy Air Show. This unusual sighting took place in May 2024, just 2 months after the LaGuardia Airport black disk incident. On the bright morning of May 28, a Navy air show was on in full swing in Long Island, with more than eager spectators. The Blue Angels, who are a U.S. Navy flight demonstration squadron, were also performing at the air show that day. And as always, people were filming the crazy fighter jet maneuvers, when one of the spectators noticed something really inexplicable. In the video recorded by this particular witness, we can clearly see the Super Hornet jet moving from right to left, but if you slow down the video, you will notice a shiny metallic sphere rush past the U.S. Navy jet. The incident takes place so quickly that had it not been for the vigilant spectator, someone would think it's just a fly passing in front of the camera. Metallic spheres of this kind have been encountered in the past, by not just U.S. Navy pilots, but Colombian commercial pilots, and even U.S. military personnel in the Middle East. So if this UFO was only visible on slowing down the footage, what Mach speed was it traveling at, without any visible means of propulsion known to man? And what creates even more curiosity, is that these metallic spheres are normally seen near military installations. So are these aliens keeping a watchful eye on our military technology? Are they doing so to gauge if we are a threat to them before they make some kind of contact with us? Number 6, green UFO seen in Tehran. This sighting took place somewhere in May, in Tehran, a city in Iran. And many would say that this is just plain CGI. But to be really honest, this sighting has not been debunked yet. This seems like the closest UFO sighting ever, second only to the metallic sphere that zoomed right past a commercial plane in Colombia in 2023. What seems really crazy is that this UFO emanating bright green light hovered right over the city, just a few hundred meters above ground level. Such up-close and clear footage of a UFO has never been captured on camera. The nearness of the craft can clearly be gauged by the size of the visible UFO, which seems as big as a commercial airplane. And this same green UFO was seen by many others in the city, but this time at a higher altitude, moving with the same laid-back speed. Why was this specific UFO hovering so slow as compared to all the other UFOs that just speed off when they realize that they have been spotted, like the UFO seen in Ibiza, Spain? Or was this some highly advanced military aircraft that the Iranian armed forces were just testing? Number 7, UFO seen by couple in Canada. In the last few decades, Canada has also become a hotspot for UFO sightings. The most recent one occurred on May 14 in the Fort Alexander area. A Canadian couple stumbled upon an extraordinary sight when they noticed 4 UFOs shining as brightly as the sun over a nearby river. Justin Stevenson and his wife were driving through Fort Alexander around 10 p.m. when they spotted several mysterious orbs emitting yellow lights, hovering over the Winnipeg River. Justin immediately started recording this baffling sighting, which left him and his wife totally dumbstruck. To the normal eye, it appears like there are 4 suns on the horizon. Such a UFO emitting an orangish-yellow light has been seen once over Texas as well. Are these orange UFOs all part of the same battalion, keeping a watch over the continent of North America? Also, after his wife posted the footage on Facebook, many were quick to point out that it might just be a strange anomaly. Was this just a freak natural incident or multiple UFOs indeed? We will only know with time. Number 8. UFOs seen in Nagpur, India. This next sighting comes all the way from India. Back in June, people in the city of Nagpur were shocked to see such an unnatural phenomena occur in the night sky. June is mostly monsoon season in India, so the skies are heavily clouded with thick rain-bearing clouds. But the UFOs were so bright that their lights penetrated through the dark clouds, making them clearly visible to people below. In this footage we can see what seems to be multiple UFOs moving quickly in a circular fashion. Generally, UFOs are known to either zip away like the Colombian UFO seen in 2023, or just stay stationary and disappear, like in the case of the Texas and Area 51 sightings. But this might be the first time that UFOs have been seen going round and round at such high speeds. Were they trying to create a whirlpool of sorts to open some kind of portal? Number 9. UFO seen by Ukrainian soldiers during the Russia-Ukraine war. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently said that he would use nuclear weapons if NATO deployed their troops on ground to fight against Russia alongside Ukraine. And it was after this horrendous nuclear threat by Putin that a mysteriously eerie-looking UFO was seen by Ukrainian soldiers. This is the second time that a UFO has been spotted in a war zone. Normally, UFOs have been seen above cities and also over mountains. But rarely have UFOs been spotted during an active war by soldiers. The footage shows Ukrainian soldiers from the 406th Battalion totally speechless and horrified after seeing the UFO right in front of them. You can't blame them for such a reaction, as for a minute they actually thought that it was a new Russian aircraft that was ready to attack them with a nuclear weapon. But this UFO was disc-shaped and was completely stationary, floating in air for the entire duration. This completely bamboozled the Ukrainian soldiers, who can be heard swearing in Russian, out of fear of not being able to comprehend what they had just witnessed. The scary footage was captured by a heat vision quadcopter drone used by the Ukrainian armed forces. This mysterious hovering object bears a striking resemblance to the Baghdad Phantom, a skinny, cylindrical object spotted above Iraq in May 2022 by the infrared heat camera of a U.S. Air Force Reaper drone. Number 10. 10-foot alien seen outside a mall in Miami. For some odd reason, a lot of UFO and alien sightings always happen in the United States of America. Some would say it's the land of Hollywood and that's where all this science fiction originates. Many outside the US believe that most UFO and alien videos captured on camera are just hoaxes made by people to get viral attention. But what happened at Miami on January 1st caught the attention of not just the local people but also the city police, and to be precise, hordes of them. It all started when a brawl broke out among some 50-odd teenagers who were using sticks and fireworks to battle each other. Miami police were immediately called in to get the situation under control. In response, more than 24 police cars stormed the area to take charge of the situation. But people believe that cops were there to access another supposedly bigger threat. There are claims that an 8 to 10-foot shadowy alien creature was seen outside the mall, and that was the real reason why the cops arrived at the crime scene. When contacted later, Miami police confirmed in an official statement that there was no such shadowy alien. Contrary to this, one eyewitness who was spending New Year's at the mall actually said to have seen a tall shadowy creature chasing him, then disappearing and reappearing again.
I look back, it looked like a big ass shadow, but it was solid at the same time, like a few shadows, but they were solid at the same time. And it almost looked like they was coming our direction, like they was chasing us, but they was disappearing and reappearing closer.
All this while police were firing gunshots at the same creature. The Egyptian pyramid is one of the most mysterious structures on this planet. No one knows when they were built, how they were built, who built them, and most importantly, why were they built. Consisting of 2.3 million stones, cut and fit together with laser precision, the pyramids weigh 6 million tons. And not just that, many of these stones weigh around 80 tons and had to be transported from over 500 miles. When new, the pyramids reflected the sun rays in such a way, you would think they were giant jewels. Such a magnificent structure that still stands tall after thousands of years, is a wonder in itself, and a mystery too. In comparison, modern-day architecture like the Eiffel Tower can only last for 20 years if not regularly and diligently maintained. And as such, the question that lingers after all these years is who built the pyramids? Were humans capable enough to build something of such massive scale? Or did we receive outside help? And why was building it so important? Did it serve a greater purpose? In today's video, we will take you on a journey across time to find out what secrets do the pyramids hold that baffled even the mind of the great Nikola Tesla, and how he was so close to replicating it, to create free energy for the whole world. Located at the Goldilocks zone of a rather lonely and insignificant star, the Earth welcomes Nikola Tesla, thousands of years after the construction of the pyramids. And as we know, Tesla would go on to become one of the most influential people to ever live on this planet. This child would be fluent in 8 languages, perform integral and differential calculus in his head, and recite all the Siberian epic poems from memory. He would also go on to invent the hydroelectric dam, neon lighting, radio control, the electric motor, and experiment with cryogenic engineering, years before it became public knowledge. He would also discover the resonant frequency of the Earth, something that wasn't confirmed to be correct until 50 years later. In fact, Tesla's contributions to mankind are so vast that he is 80% directly responsible for the technology that we use today. Tesla believed that the pyramids of Giza served a higher purpose, and was investigating them throughout his life. He wondered if they weren't giant transmitters of energy, a thought that coincided with his investigation into how to send energy wirelessly. He realized that the ionosphere was sparkling with electrical energy, which could be tapped. He looked at the Earth as though it were a giant electrical generator, spinning around 2 magnetic poles, from which limitless energy could be produced. With that, in 1905, Tesla filed a patent in the US titled, "The Art of Transmitting Electrical Energy Through the Natural Medium," outlining designs for a series of generators around the world, which would tap the ionosphere for energy collections. His triangle-shaped design became known as Tesla's electromagnetic pyramid. But here is the thing. After his mysterious death, his discovery and device disappeared. Which makes you wonder, did Nikola Tesla truly find a way to generate unlimited power? Did he really know the secret of the Great Pyramid? When Tesla received $150,000 from J.P. Morgan to build his wireless station, the latter made sure that he had 51% interest in the company as well as a 51% share in present and future wireless patents, developed from the project. This was rather strange on Morgan's part to invest in something that would directly hamper the economy and be fatal to his other products. Tesla's system would have put the world then into a deep recession, possibly a very deep depression. Much of the economy was based upon building the power grid and the generation of electricity, both offering huge numerous revenue streams and jobs. Wireless would eliminate that along with the power plants. The conventional electric system creating a revenue stream would collapse. Tesla's innovative electrical system had to be stopped anyhow, at any cost, because Tesla could not be trusted, because Tesla was inventing outside the comfort zone of the capitalists, because Tesla was just different. But J.P. Morgan and Tesla were friends, weren't they? Why would he do that to his friend? It is said that the likes of Morgan, Edison, Marconi, and many more, were mere puppets in the hands of something very powerful. But that topic is for another day, and we promise we will work on it soon. For now though, let's get back to Nikola Tesla and the pyramids. It is believed that the Pyramid of Giza is a tomb built for Khufu, the 4th dynasty Egyptian pharaoh, who ruled 4,500 years ago. Why is then that it doesn't have any characteristics of other Egyptian tombs? There are no hieroglyphs, artifacts, or any elaborate wall art. On top of that, mummies have never been found there. However, many argue that the granite sarcophagus, found in the king's chamber, once contained Khufu's mummy, which was later looted by tomb raiders. You mean to tell me that a mesmerizing architecture, which still baffles experts in today's day and age, did not have protection against theft and robbery? Surely, something like that, the resting place of kings and queens, would be heavily guarded. The size of the pyramids are aligned with such accuracy that only modern human engineering can match it. Most of the Great Pyramid is constructed of nummulite limestone, the reddish-brown blocks that we see today. While these rocks are abundant near the site, builders of the pyramid used some strange materials that had to be brought in from almost 500 miles away. The outer side of the pyramid was once covered in bright white limestone, polished, smoothened and fit together so tightly that it looked like a huge piece of jewel. How they managed to carry thousands of 10-ton stone blocks still blows my mind. Now get this, a rare type of granite called pink granite was also brought in from great distances because it has a high concentration of quartz, aka silicon dioxide. Squeeze quartz and you can make electricity flow through them. And guess what? The walls and chambers inside of the pyramid are made of quartz. With the right amount of pressure, the Great Pyramid could generate a tremendous amount of electricity. In Netflix's 2016 documentary, The Pyramid Code, archaeologists and theorists claim the ancient Egyptians came to the Great Pyramid to get more healthy energy. Many accounts from those who have made the arduous climb to the top of the Great Pyramid involve minuscule yet noticeable shifts in energy, prickling sensations in body extremities and even cases of electric shock. Climbing to the top of the Great Pyramid is now illegal, but in the late 1800s a British inventor named Sir William Siemens made it to the flat, settled summit. Upon reaching the summit, one of his guides remarked that when he raised his hand with his fingers spread, his ears picked up a shrill ringing noise. Not long after, the inventor went to quench his thirst with a celebratory sip of wine, and received an electric shock from his lips touching the bottle. The documentary suggests that these were energy pyramids, created to conduct energy or alter frequencies over large areas of land. The only thing missing for the Great Pyramid of Giza to function as a power plant was a source of energy, which is why the ancient builders of the Great Pyramid took advantage of the water at the Giza Plateau. The Giza Plateau where the pyramids are located is full of underground water channels. This means that the high-volume flow of water that passes through these underground cavities is capable of producing an electrical current. Even the shape of the pyramid itself leads some to believe that pyramid power plants were and are possible. Still, there remains a lot of unanswered questions regarding the many theories as to how they would have achieved this process. Coming back to Tesla, his Wardenclyffe Tower was built on top of an aquifer with copper and iron rods extending down into the water. Then, electricity sent into the tower would be transmitted through the atmosphere around the globe. The pyramid is also built on an aquifer, and copper pipes and iron rods have recently been discovered there. If the capstone was made of gold, the energy concentrated inside the pyramid would have been drawn to the top and transmitted to the atmosphere. Tesla's wireless power distribution system used the resonance of the Earth just like the pure pyramid, and just like it, the energy generated by Tesla's tower would be unlimited and clean and virtually free for everyone on the planet. But Tesla's tower was destroyed. Imagine what the world would have looked today had Tesla successfully implemented it. The moon landing may have happened decades ago, World War May 2nd have been averted, and human society may have been so much more ahead than where we currently are. What do you guys have to say? Drop in your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.